I think that's why. That's the reason we know we can tell just by looking at you.
Oh, I'm black. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna say.
Oh, yes, it does.
Bro, I'll just find a way.
Nolan Xavier Wells needs justice. So Nolan went out to Horn Island with friends on 4th of July, and these so-called friends left Nolan on Horn Island. And as of yesterday, Nolan's body was found because he was no longer alive when he was discovered. According to his friends, they left without realizing that he wasn't with them, yet they apparently had his cell phone, and all of them have now lawyered up. Now, obviously, Nolan's friend's story doesn't really add up, but I'll update y'all when more details come out as the investigation continues.
We are back, and unfortunately we are back for the same reason we keep coming back. Another name, another story, another young black life that went somewhere with people he trusted and didn't come home. This is Nolan Xavier Wells' situation, and before we get into what happened, I need you to understand something. This is not new. We have seen this before. We saw it with Tamila Hoshford, a young woman who went for a sleepover with her friends and somehow ended up dead. Broke her neck, they said. She was drunk, they said. No real investigation, no real answers, just move on. Nothing yet to see. And now here we are again. Nolan Xavier Wells, 18 years old, goes to Horn Island with his friends, an island 10 miles off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, only accessible by boat, and does not come back. And you want to know what his friends told people? That they thought he caught another ride. Another ride from an island surrounded by water with no phone, no boat, no bridge, and nothing. A ride on what exactly? A dolphin? A crocodile? A passing cloud? Because the last time I checked, Uber does not operate 10 miles offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. And here is what makes it worse. They deleted their social media afterward. His friends gone, accounts wiped. Now tell me, what innocent person panics and scrubs their online presence when their friend goes missing? Now flip this around. If this were a group of black boys and one white boy didn't come home from that island, those boys would have been in handcuffs before the search party even launched. There will be no "we thought he caught a ride," no waiting, no grace period, straight to custody. You know it and everybody knows it. But when the roles are reversed, we are supposed to be patient. We are supposed to wait for the full story. We are supposed to trust the process. And you know what? We are past patient. If you're watching this right now, like this video, share this video, subscribe so you don't miss a single update as this story develops. Drop a comment, tag a lawyer, tag an investigator, tag anyone with the power to make sure this does not get buried, because that is exactly what they are counting on. That we move on, that we forget, and that we let this become another unsolved statistics. Not this time, because this story is just getting started.
The body of 18-year-old black teen Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. His white friends who were with him on the trip have already hired lawyers. Wells vanished July 4 during a 4th of July boat outing to Horn Island, Mississippi, about 10 miles off the Gulf Coast. A park ranger found him in the water near the northwest end on July 6th. His phone was not with him. It was in his father's possession. The island has no cell coverage and is only accessible by private boat. Search teams, including the Cajun Navy, scoured land and sea since his disappearance. Authorities have not said how many people were on the boat or who made the missing person report. But online video suggests a possible altercation before the friends left Wells behind. One friend is the child of a judge, and all of them quickly retained lawyers. Wells was reportedly heading to meet a girl, but instead his friends took another boat and departed without him. Why did his phone return, but he did not? Why the immediate legal protection? The family and activists are furious, comparing this to other cases where black victims' deaths were dismissed as accidents. Officials are awaiting DNA confirmation, though the family says they have identified him. What do you think?
I'm not buying the "we thought he caught another ride" BS. I'm not doing it. He came with y'all, he should have left with y'all. Y'all also had his phone too, so make that make sense. Of course, here comes people saying, oh, it's not about race. No, but it is. Why is it the fact that the one black teen that went out with a whole bunch of white boys is the only one to show up deceased? Y'all not gonna like this one, but being the only black person in a group full of white people or whatever the race is not always the smartest or safest choice. For these white friends of his to say that they don't know what happened to him and they can't remember is a little off-putting. They were not looking out for their so-called friend, and it shows. Hence why I'm not believing anything that they're saying. I'm not buying anything that they're selling. Nolan deserved to be home safe and sound, just like his so-called friends got to be able to be home safe and sound. Prayers out to his family. I really hope they get some answers, because we all know, like, cases like this don't really get the attention that they deserve. They just get brushed over.
Secret Service Sam here, and this Nolan Xavier Wells case is just not sitting well with anybody. Especially people in the black community are not trusting what happened. They're not believing that this was some type of accident. He was allegedly going to see a girl, and so I guess a guy named Warren, one of the friends, left him behind. He went on another boat. There is video circulating online that almost shows that there was some type of potential altercation or fight that took place. Then it turns out one of the kids who made it back safely, their parent is a judge, and all the kids are lawyered up. Why would you be so lawyered up so quickly if there was nothing that you did wrong? Now, this is reminding a lot of people of Tamla Horsford, who died on November 4th, 2018 in Cummings, Georgia. She's a black mother of 5. She attended an adult sleepover with mostly white female friends. The next morning, she was found dead in the backyard. Official investigations by the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation concluded her death was accidental as a fall from a backyard deck. How do you just fall from a backyard deck? Authorities cited severe intoxication, with her autopsy revealing a blood alcohol level of 0.238. Anyway, her family and community advocates heavily disputed the official findings, citing timeline discrepancies, the presence of unexplained injuries, and concerns over how the crime scene was handled. Now, this happened in Mississippi. That case happened in Forsyth County, which has a lot of racist history. We need this to be transparent. This continues to happen in the black community, where what are the chances that every time it's a group of all white people and like one black friend, why it's like a horror movie where the black person has to die first. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. People are not going to let this sit at all. And when you have Cyrus Carmack Belton, then you have Carmelo Anthony, then you have to understand how painful this is to the community, that continually they're taken advantage of. And then when they claim something like this is racially motivated or whatnot, they're called victims, or they're saying, oh, you're just searching for something. Why are the boys lawyering up? Why did the boys have the kid's cell phone? Why did he have Nolan's cell phone and give it to the mother? You know how kids are, and all of us are with our phones. They are glued to our hip. How did the phone make it back, but he didn't? Something is suspect here. This is Mississippi. We've all seen Mississippi burning. We need justice for Nolan. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president of the world.
In light of this Nolan Xavier story, I really want to tell a story. This is for black parents or parents of color who have children in all white spaces. I'm from Michigan, right? And there's this beach everybody goes to. It's called Grand Haven. I probably was 17. There's this thing that peach people do, right? Racial baiting, racial peer pressure. They will try to peer pressure your children into doing something that is dangerous to them or could potentially harm them. And it will be for their enjoyment. So there's these 3 or 4 black boys. I can't remember the exact number. And then there's these 2, peach girl, peach boy, right? They jumping off the pier, right? These people have boats. These people have been swimming all their lives. Like, it's nothing for them. They've done this plenty of times, I promise you. Me and my best friend, we're just sitting over the pier and we see the black boys, right? And they start talking to them. They're just having a normal conversation, and then all of a sudden they're telling them, hey, jump in, jump in. We instantly can tell this is a problem. The black boys are making statements clearly, insinuating that they can't swim. Nah, bro, I ain't jumping in there. That's crazy. How deep is the water? This peach girl and peach boy are saying anything to get them to listen. They're calling him scary and saying, oh, y'all are scared. It is not that deep. Oh, this is easy. And of course it's easy for them, and they know it's not easy for these boys. They know there's a potential that something very bad could happen, but they don't care because they want to see if they're going to jump in. At one point, the peach girl says, I will show you my breasts if you jump in. Me and my friend, we turned to them. We said, y'all better not jump in. Y'all better not jump in. Do they listen? Of course not, because the little girl is shaking her yitties. 2 boys jump in. Do you think they did anything when these boys was fighting for their life? Do you think? They mamas don't even know. They could have almost lost their child that day. Peach girl, peach boy was just cracking up, laughing. Mind you, they can swim. Me and my best friend, we started looking for a little buoy or something that we could throw out there. Like, we were scared. Anyways, they end up catching hold of the little dock or whatever. and they had to learn a harsh lesson. That's that. But the whole point of the story is just to tell you that things like that happen all the time with them. They even do it to each other. I'm telling you this not to say that it's all white people, not to say that they're all bad, but I just want you to know that you need to protect your children. You need to protect them because they do not understand. And if you didn't grow up with a mama like mine, they will succumb to that type of peer pressure. You have to stop letting y'all children live in a state of delusion. You have to let them know the real.
We need to start taking the dangers of friend groups that look like this serious in our community. Nolan Wells was missing since the 4th of July after a boating trip with these culprits. Of course, these men said that they had no idea where Nolan was. And like expected, they all corroborated each other's stories. Fast forward to today, Nolan Wells' body was found. And we still don't have an explanation of exactly what happened. This isn't the first time this happened either. I remember this happened similarly to a black woman named Tamala Horsford. She went to a sleepover with a bunch of women that didn't look like her, and before the sun even came up, Tamala was dead. No explanation given to the cops once again. Alonzo Brooks also went to a house party and ended up unalived. These people are always going to corroborate each other's stories whenever something bad like this happens. And because of their privilege, they're always believed and no meaningful investigation is ever done. Many of these cases also go unsolved. And I'm not saying don't hang out with white people. I'm just saying if you look like me and they're going to an all-white space, you need to have a plan. My heart goes out to Wells and his family because they should be celebrating. He should be going to college right now and it should be one of the most exciting times of his life. But his family doesn't get to experience that. His mother had to spend this morning identifying his body. You guys be safe out there. I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.
First thing I'm going to say is I would never leave without the full head count of my friends. That is rule number 1. We don't get off no damn island. We don't get onto no boat. We don't do nothing until we have every last person that we came with all in one place. You mean to tell me that no one took account for Nolan Xavier Wells before y'all got back on that boat to go back to the main island? Something's not adding up. 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells was last seen on July 4th with his friends on Horn Island outside of Jackson, Mississippi. He was last seen in blue shorts, sunglasses, and that's it. Nolan's parents are looking for him nonstop. They just want to find their son. Now, the U.S. Coast Guard and the Cajun Navy are looking for Nolan. The Cajun Navy commander said that he was last seen with a teen before he disappeared. They found his phone, but they did not find him. And if this is his friend group, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have that much faith in finding this boy alive. Because like I said before, there's no way in hell I would hop on a boat to go home and not all of my friends are accounted for. Y'all didn't give a fuck about him whatsoever. And there's somebody out there that was part of that friend group that knows what the fuck happened. But everybody's locking the fuck up. Now, I'm trying to keep the faith that this boy's just sitting there lost on this island and, he fell asleep or some shit. But 9 times out of 10, we already know how this shit goes. Especially with a friend group like that. My prayers go out to Nolan's mother and father and his family and friends. I hope I come with a better update.
This is why Caribbean parents are so strict, so militant. This is why Haitian parents do not allow sleepovers, do not allow their kids to go on vacation, do not allow anything. By 8 p.m., you need to be home in a Haitian household. And if you come home later than that, just pack your bags. You're not coming back home. This is why, Parce que ça c'est Nolan Xavier Wells, ça c'est maman ni. Yo ti moun 18 ans qui est en high school, qui est en football team qui habite Mississippi. Bon ti moun tande, pas jamais de problème avec la loi. En 4 juillet, Nolan a fêté avec Zamine. Il y a le bateau, il y a la plage, il y a mené, fireworks. So qu'on y a là, après petit temps, on tande porte ouverte. Maman Nolan ouvert porte. Le gars ouvert tout zami yo dehors, il pas Nolan. Yo dit mais téléphone Nolan oui, nous pas il disparaît avec côté dame. OK, bye. What the fuck? Après combien de jours, yo jeune colonel, il mourit. Non, mais yo jeune. Mourir. Il va là encore avec lui. Je dis que ça, que côté de la Léa, le island que la Léa, le Mississippi, ça, le parti ça, le Mississippi, ça, pas de monde qui a là souvent. Pas de monde qui a là parti ça souvent. Pas de monde noir qui a là même. Parce que l'eau, pas retourner. Ça m'appelle. Flo ap gen investigation, yo pal teste li pou yo wè ki sa ki pase, pou yo wè ki si se do ki lan system ni. Parce qu'on konen ti moun sa yo, depi lan high school, college, yap boy, yap fime, yap fe makak, but my thing is, everyone came back though. Regardless if they were drinking and whatever, tout moun came back. But Nolan, what happened? Kote Nolan. Pou ki sa se toujou ti moun nou ki disparet. Anyway, fok nou pala avek ti moun yo, mesdames. Fok nou pala avek yo. Like, fok ou montre yo bagay sa yo, histwa sa yo, pou yo ka overje yo, pou yo be more vigilant, have more discernment around them. But we're going to find out. We have to wait for more investigation before we jump to the guns, jump to conclusions. We can't make any inferences until we hear what the coroner says and until the investigation is complete. But li tre sad. Mette GPS an de dan tet ti moun atade. Mette GPS, mette oti GPS pa de ekou yo pa. Nou ka konen kote yo paske no.
You would think that after Nolan Wells was pronounced unalive and his body was found, his friends would be putting out posts saying, rest in peace, oh my God, something. But no, everybody is dead silent. Every last person that was there has deleted their Instagram, their Facebook, their social media. Everybody's gone quiet, including the parents, okay, y'all? Including the parents, including a judge, okay, attached to one of those kids. Everybody's going media silent. It only raises questions about this video that was being circulated on the internet with Nolan on the beach with those friends, and there's an argument that breaks out, okay? Nolan is standing to the side, and there's a group of other kids looking at him. What was that argument about? Katie also spoke with someone saying that she did not get on the boat with Nolan. She got on a boat with someone else because her friends and family told her to get her ass on. Nolan was supposed to get on a boat with his friends. It never happened. She doesn't know what happened. I'm going to say this as honest as possible. If you're the only Black person in the friend group, there is a problem. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the victim. That's just it. Now, next up is the autopsy. And I hope they don't use anybody near that fucking place. Use somebody else and make sure they Black.
If white people are on here skeptical and asking questions about the death of Nolan Xavier Wells, then we all need to pay attention. The disappearance and ultimate death of this boy does raise many questions because there are some very bizarre things in the sequence of events. They look really happy in that picture. They go off on the 4th of July to Horn Island to celebrate. The 3 white boys return, but he disappears and is found dead. They were happy to return without him? That's bizarre. They came home, didn't raise an alarm for him. Bizarre. It's only when the mother became frantic later in the evening that she called the police and the authorities. They had his phone and belongings. Bizarre. What young person in today's day and age parts with their phone? One of the boys' mother is a judge. When they get back, they are suddenly all lawyered up. Bizarre. Unless you've got something to hide, why would you do that? All of a sudden, all their media is deactivated. There is a video going viral showing that there was an altercation or an argument between Nolan and his friends. So what happened? There's another case that the Black community is comparing this to of Tamla Horsford from Georgia, a woman who went for a sleepover with a whole bunch of white women. Her body was found in the backyard the next morning. Apparently, she had fallen off the balcony. It was deemed an accident. How bizarre. And this is something that happens time and time again. It's all about race and racism. It's all about Black experience. So, in this case, the family will want justice, as does the entire Black community. And if they don't get the transparency and the answers, then is this another case of Black lives don't matter?
Racism doesn't even exist anymore. Okay, well, if a white teenage boy left with a group of Black teenage boys and that white child died, those boys would be in jail right now. It would be national news, televised constantly. No one would have anything else to talk about. They wouldn't be asking questions about his character or what he did wrong or was he drinking or anything like that. They would be mourning him. What a tragedy that this boy is dead. Okay? Those boys would be in jail right now. It would be televised until they're sentenced to prison. And that's not it. Because racist white men all across this country would consider it a manhunt, and they would go out and attack Black people unprovoked for no reason. And that wouldn't be televised either, because racism isn't real, doesn't exist. So let's keep the blinders on, because, ooh, can't be racism, just random attacks, right? But a child is dead. And instead of grieving that, instead of paying attention to that, what did he do wrong? Well, were they fighting? Why wasn't he on the boat? Was he drinking? He's dead, a dead child. A mother lost her son. It doesn't matter what happened. He left with his friends and he did not come back. Okay? And will those boys ever see the inside of a jail cell? Probably not. Right? So don't say that, oh, racism doesn't exist. That was so long ago. No.
So the same thing that happened to Nolan Wells almost happened to me. I think I was like 22 years old working at Texas Roadhouse. You know what I mean? Young, silly. Forgot a couple of the things that my granddaddy told me when I was growing up. But at any rate, every year the employees and managers, they would take this little, resort, and it wasn't really a resort, it was in the country, and they would take a couple of canoes, some ice chest of beer, and you know what I mean, everybody was out there smoking, you know what I mean, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a good time. And mind you, I could swim, been swimming since, I don't know, maybe it was 4 years old when I jumped in the pool for the first time. But at that point in time, I thought these people were my friends. Another lesson my grandparents taught me when I was younger is that you don't have any friends. You know what I mean? You really do not. Like, my siblings were always my friends, and I learned that. At any rate, I signed up to go on this, little trip with these people. And, it was good at first. It was, the water was kind of shallow. You know what I mean? We maybe had 6 or 7 canoes out there, music, people having a good time. And, I'm not really used to that, and I'm not having a good time. But usually when me and my people, my kinfolk get together and play music that loud and was as rambunctious as they were, and because the whole time I'm looking around like, when the police showing up? We smoking weed out loud and everything. So mind you, and after a while I got comfortable into it, you know what I mean? Everybody told me, loosen up, but I'm on edge, you know what I mean? For many reasons. And so the trip continued, and at one point in time, they let us know, okay, so we're gonna get up on the bank right here, and then we're gonna go see the waterfall. So I'm like, oh, okay, so but what we gonna do at the waterfall? You know what I mean? Because I'm vibing, but at the same time, I'm not stupid. And they was like, we're just gonna look at the, sit there, light a fire, smoke some more, drink some more. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we get to the little spot where we pull up the canoes, we anchor them off and whatnot. And then they tell us, okay, so this little piece of water right here, we got to swim across that to get to the waterfall. I hate when people add extras to a plan. You know what I mean? Especially for me, I think into a lot of things and I got a plan. So I'm still cautious, and I'm watching everybody dive in this water, you know what I mean, and swim right across. You know what I mean? And I hadn't jumped in yet because I'm still leery. And I don't know what it was, but it was holding me back. But so I'm the last person. Everybody, come on, let's go. So I jump in, and I get almost halfway through over that water to the other side. And then I realize that I'm swimming rather hard and ain't moving nowhere. Long story short, nobody told me that there was a strong current at this spot and you needed to be prepared. At this point, I'm smoking and drinking. So I couldn't understand. Mind, just get back to the story. So I get halfway through the water and I realize that, and I'm losing my strength slowly but surely. And at this point in time, I am calling out for help. No music is playing at this time. You know what I mean? None. Yeah, everybody was rambunctious, excited, whatever, but you could clearly hear me out there in the woods. It's still daylight. So I am screaming that I can't make it. Somebody please help me. They turn around, several of them look at me, say, you can do it, come on, let's go. And they continue to walk off. At this point in time, I have already said my prayers and have already decided that I'm going to meet my maker. I scream one more time, I am going to drown, and I went down. I don't know who, can't remember who was and what made them decide to change their mind and come back, but one person jumped in that water, grabbed me, pulled me up onto the bank, and mind you, they didn't do anything else after that and continued on their way. So I said all of this to say that I have Caucasian friends, you know what I mean? And I ain't saying friends. I have Caucasian people that I love and care about. You know what I mean? Because that's what God said. But I will be honest with you. It is a lesson that the elders taught us as young black children. The same lesson that I'm sure you're telling all your children now. Do not be the only one. And it really doesn't matter how people feel about that, because the concern is preservation of life. So for some reason, God saw fit to not allow me to lose my life that day. And for some reason, God called Nolan home. So I will say that despite what anybody feels about how you feel about the situation, please have that conversation with your children. And that's all I'm going to say. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells, and to his entire family.
This is going to be a hot take, and it's either going to get me canceled or people are going to be like, you're right. So here we go. I'm just going to say it. Black people have got to stop hanging out with groups of white people. And I mean that. If you're going to be the only black person in that group, go home. Go home. Because these days, you just can't trust white people anymore. Obviously. It happens time and time and time again. You see one black person hanging out with their group of white friends, and they're like, oh, I've known these guys for forever. We grew up with them. I'm the only black person in the high school or something like that. Especially down here in the South, okay? Down here in the South. Obviously, we realize that these pieces of crap, the white people, will turn on you. They will turn on you quick. So not only do y'all have to be worried about the police, now you need to be worried about your group of white friends that you grew up with. And am I saying every white person's like that? No, obviously not. Okay, but better be safe than sorry, right? And that's a shame. But I just keep seeing it happen. And like over the past 2 or 3 years, especially, if you know what I'm talking about, people have just gotten louder and prouder about it. So really it all boils down to like a lack of empathy these days. That's a whole nother subject though. But yeah, and don't come for me about my hair. I just got them running 5 miles.
Now, I plan to come on here and tell y'all about just how black of a weekend I had here at Essence Fest, but I can't do that because yet again, the black community is hit with another tragedy that doesn't make sense. This is 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells, who went missing at Horn Island in Mississippi while celebrating the 4th of July weekend with these 3 friends. Now, a body was found on Monday, but the identity of the body has not been confirmed. But let me tell you this. We do not want to hear that this is another case of a self-unaliving. Not in Mississippi and not on the 4th of July weekend. We're not buying that. Now, authorities are saying that the last time he was seen was with a girl, but there's no further detail on what the girl looked like or the girl's identity. Now, I've also searched high and low to see where the statements are from the 3 friends he was with, and I've not been able to find anything from them. That, to me, is concerning and questionable because if you went on a trip with 3 friends for the 4th of July weekend, if it were my friend, I would be asking questions, speaking out, searching, doing all the things, and I've not heard anything of that sort from those 3 friends. Now, his mother says that obviously her and her husband have been worried sick and they've not been feeling good and they just want their son to come home and walk through the door. And they're asking for any information or any help that anyone can provide. But I'm praying for this family because this is getting out of control. And again, we don't want to hear that it was a self-unaliving. We're tired of that narrative.
Black people, stop going on motherfucking vacation with these white folks. Your white friends call you, say, hey, bud, what's up? Hey, you ain't going on vacation? No. No. Hell no. Cause y'all keep going on them vacations and they keep coming back home and we can't find. You got to tell them white people no right now. Not all of them, but some of them you got to tell them no. I can swim. Why I'm going out there in the ocean for?
This is the exact reason I tell my kids, friend or no friend, you can't trust anybody. How is it possible for a group of friends to go to Mississippi's Horn Island, but when they come back home, they come back without somebody that they went with? And they're going to say race ain't play a part. You see everybody in this picture right here. Tell me what looks different. Tell me. You had an 18-year-old accomplished football star, Nolan Wells, goes to Mississippi Horn Island with his friends on the 4th of July. And then he turns up missing. Mind you, all of his friends make it home safe. And the person that went with them, Nolan Xavier Wells, he's missing. And nobody has nothing to say about that. You have his so-called friends saying that they don't remember anything. They don't remember seeing what happened to him. Mind you, they have pictures on the boat. Mind you, they have pictures together. But nobody knows what happened to him. Now you got the Coast Guard, sheriff deputies, Marine units, and multiple agencies searching for him right now. They're searching the waters, searching surrounding areas, trying to figure out what happened. They're also saying that the last time he was seen with a team. They're also saying that they found his phone, but they didn't find him. What team do you know right now would leave his phone behind? Tell me that. But you see how all of this sounds? This is why disappearances like this and places like this always leave people questioning. If you spend time looking into missing person cases like this, then you already know what may be the outcome. Do you understand how this young man's parents has to feel? They just want their kid back. We definitely need to spread the word about this. We need some answers. This shit is crazy.
Y'all, I was just reading that article, and when I tell y'all something ain't adding up, something is not adding up. 18-year-old Nolan was last seen 4th of July, Saturday. Today is Monday, okay? Monday the 6th. He has not been seen since 4th of July around 3 o'clock. Now, where he was at, he was in Mississippi on, I think, Ocean Island with his friends. And now his friends don't remember what happened. Mind you, Nolan is 6'1", 180 pounds. Okay, how y'all don't know what the hell happened to that tall ass black boy? Where the fuck he at? Now they got the, you know what I'm saying? They got the Navy, the Coast Guard out there looking for him, trying to get his whereabouts. His mama's on social media trying to get his whereabouts. And it's just take me back to my video that I just made about being the token black and why it's so dangerous to have them people as your friends. And also, parents, stop putting our children around those people. Those people are not friends to our children. They proved that time and time again. Get out churn out these fucking PWIs. I don't care how far you gotta drive to get your child to a black school. Get them at a black school, okay? And while I'm recording this video, I literally just saw that they found a body, but it has not been identified as 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. I'm sick to my fucking stomach because it's given that y'all was friends with that boy to get him out there for whatever fucking sick ass reason to do something to him. And mind you, he just went missing on Saturday. It's only Monday. Damn. That was quick as hell. Not y'all pretending to be his friend to lure him out there just to do something to him. And that's why I keep telling y'all they is not our friends.
I beg your finest fucking pardon, but I know if my friend went missing, I wouldn't be out partying a few hours later. Hell, if it was just somebody that I remotely cared about and didn't wish harm upon, I'd be trying to find them. And I sure as hell know that I wouldn't leave an actual island without them. And I know that I wouldn't be like deleting all my social media and having like my parents even delete their social media. I know I would be openly working with anybody and everybody and speaking out very publicly to find information, to find out why they are unalive. But no, that's not what happened to Nolan Xavier Wells, because those individuals were not his friends. They were not even his acquaintances. They clearly did not care about him at all or his well-being, Because if they did, this is not the storyline that we would be hearing. This is not the timeline of actions that we would be seeing. The fact that one of those kids lawyered up as soon as news broke about Nolan Xavier Wells' disappearance, we all knew how this was going to end up after that moment. This happens so much in our society that I fear that people just expect it now because it's all too fucking common. But we all know, had that picture had been 3 black teenage boys with 1 white teenage boy, this would be all over mainstream media and the president would be fucking talking about it right now. We all fucking know that. Rest in peace, Nolan Xavier Wells, and I truly hope that your family finds peace and you receive justice, because this is so fucking wrong and we need to keep his name alive. This has to stop in our country.
I have to be honest with you right now. Like, I'm really struggling to keep it together. My voice is shaking. And it's not because I'm weak. It's because I'm a human being watching something deeply wrong unfold in slow motion. And the people who are supposed to care don't seem to care enough. This mother raised her son. She poured everything into him. She didn't raise a statistic. She didn't raise a hashtag. She raised a person, a gentle soul. Someone God seemingly took time on. Someone described as special. Not in the ordinary way people throw that word around, but genuinely, deeply special. The kind of young man who made people feel seen, who comforted others, who had his whole life ahead of him. And now she has to bury him. And the people who were supposed to bring him home, the people who got on that boat with him, took pictures with him, laughed with him, and they lawyered up. They went silent. They wiped their pages. And the system that was built to deliver justice looked at all of that and said, let's wait, let's see. We don't know the full story yet. But let me ask something directly. If this were your child, if you sent your son out with a group of friends and he didn't come back, would you be patient? Would you wait for people to tell you the full story? Or would you be burning down the world until they give you answers? You already know the answer to that. To the family of Nolan Xavier Wells, there are no words adequate enough. There is no script that captures what you're carrying right now. But know this. People who never met your son are angry on his behalf. People across the world are saying his name, and we are not going to let this get swept under the rug. Nolan, may your soul rest in peace that this world failed to give you. May every gentle soul that lives too soon find the rest they deserve. And to everyone watching, don't let this be the end of the conversation. Like this video, share it. Make sure every person in your circle hears his name. Tag lawyers, journalists, anyone with a platform and a conscience. Because justice does not come to those who stay quiet. It comes to those who refuse to shut up. We owe him that much. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and make sure you comment on what you think about this story. And we will see you in the next one.